Choosing a plant-based diet is a powerful way to support your health, reduce environmental impact, and promote animal welfare. However, as with any dietary lifestyle, the risk of food waste, or desperdicio, can still be high if meals and ingredients are not planned and handled properly. Food waste not only affects your budget, but also undermines the core principles of a sustainable plant-based lifestyle. For young people and adults alike, understanding how to prevent desperdicio within a plant-based framework is essential for long-term success and positive impact. Many people begin a plant-based journey by purchasing a variety of fresh vegetables, fruits, legumes, and other whole foods, but without proper planning, a significant portion of those alimentos organicos may end up in the trash. One of the first steps in reducing desperdicio is to assess your eating habits realistically. Instead of buying large quantities of produce because they look appealing or are on sale, it is more effective to buy what you know you will consume within a week. Creating a weekly meal plan is a fundamental technique to manage your plant-based lifestyle and minimize food waste. This plan should incorporate the foods you already have in your pantry, fridge, and freezer, especially items with upcoming expiration dates. When you focus on using alimentos organicos before they spoil, you not only avoid desperdicio but also make your diet more cost-effective and intentional. Batch cooking is another effective method for avoiding food waste. Preparing large quantities of meals using plant-based ingredients can help preserve freshness and reduce the temptation to let unused ingredients rot. When you cook in batches and freeze portions, you preserve the nutrients and flavor of alimentos organicos, while saving time and energy during busy days. Proper food storage is another critical skill. For example, leafy greens like kale or spinach, common in plant-based diets, should be stored in breathable bags with a paper towel to absorb excess moisture. This small change can extend their freshness significantly. Bananas, avocados, and tomatoes should be kept at room temperature until ripe. Learning the correct storage methods for each type of produce is essential in reducing desperdicio. Being flexible with recipes also helps prevent food waste. If a recipe calls for spinach, but you have Swiss chard that needs to be used, make the substitution. If you have leftover rice or beans, incorporate them into soups, stir-fries, or grain bowls. Adapting meals based on what you already have encourages creativity while aligning with plant-based and anti-desperdicio values. Embracing the concept of root-to-stem cooking is another excellent practice for plant-based eaters. Rather than throwing away broccoli stems, beet greens, or cauliflower leaves, find ways to incorporate them into recipes. Carrot tops can be made into pesto, and watermelon rinds can be pickled. These parts of alimentos organicos are often overlooked but are nutrient-rich and flavorful. Shopping locally and seasonally supports sustainability and reduces the risk of desperdicio. Local alimentos organicos are often fresher and last longer because they haven't traveled long distances. Farmers markets are ideal for sourcing fresh, seasonal produce, and you can often buy just the amount you need, reducing the chance of spoilage. Portion control is a habit that helps reduce both food and calorie waste. Serve yourself only what you are likely to eat and return for seconds if needed. This is especially helpful for young people who may be adjusting to plant-based meals and are still learning how filling they can be. Composting is a responsible way to dispose of unavoidable waste. While it's best to minimize waste altogether, some scraps are inevitable. Composting plant scraps turns them into nutrient-rich soil, completing a cycle that honors the plant-based lifestyle. Understanding expiration labels helps prevent unnecessary desperdicio. Best by dates often refer to quality rather than safety. Many alimentos organicos remain safe and tasty beyond these dates. Learning how to identify spoilage through sight and smell is more reliable than relying solely on printed dates. Learning how to properly wash, cut, and store produce ensures it stays fresh longer. For instance, berries should be washed just before eating to prevent mold. Herbs can be stored in a jar of water in the fridge, much like a bouquet of flowers, to keep them vibrant for days. Repurposing leftovers is a skill that significantly reduces food waste. Yesterday's roasted vegetables can become today's veggie wrap or tomorrow's soup base. Cooked grains can be turned into patties, salads, or breakfasts. A plant-based kitchen thrives on transformation and creativity. Avoiding overbuying is an ongoing discipline. It's easy to get excited in the produce aisle, but restraint is key. Keeping a grocery list that aligns with your meal plan helps reduce impulsive purchases of alimentos organicos that may go unused. Freezing surplus produce before it spoils is a useful habit. Bananas can be frozen for smoothies, tomatoes can be frozen for sauces, and leafy greens can be blanched and stored for later use. This practice ensures that no part of your plant-based groceries goes to waste. Sharing surplus food with friends, neighbors, or community fridges is a meaningful way to avoid desperdicio. If you have too much of a certain ingredient or meal, consider offering it to someone who could use it. This spreads the benefits of Alimentos Organicos and fosters community. Being mindful of serving sizes when cooking large meals is important. Doubling recipes is useful for batch cooking, but overdoing it without a plan for leftovers can lead to waste. Think ahead about how the extra portions will be used or stored. Keep a "Use Me First" bin in your refrigerator where you place items that are near expiration. This visual reminder helps prioritize what needs to be eaten and prevents foods from being forgotten at the back of the fridge. Take time to educate yourself about the environmental impact of food waste. Globally, a third of all food produced is wasted. In a plant-based diet, each piece of produce represents energy, water, and care. Throwing it away is not just a personal loss but a global issue. Plant-based meal kits or delivery services can sometimes help reduce waste for people with busy schedules. These kits usually provide precise portions, minimizing excess. However, be mindful of packaging waste and choose services that prioritize sustainability and Alimentos Organicos. Keeping track of what foods you waste most often can provide insights into your habits. Maybe you consistently buy too much lettuce or forget about the tofu in the back of the fridge. Use this knowledge to adjust future shopping and planning decisions. When eating out or ordering takeout, opt for places that offer plant-based meals in reasonable portions. Bring your own containers for leftovers if possible. Don't let convenience lead to extra desperdicio. Food preservation techniques like fermenting and pickling are traditional ways to extend the life of Alimentos Organicos. You can pickle carrots, radishes, or even watermelon rinds. Fermented foods like sauerkraut and kimchi also offer probiotic benefits. Educating young people about food waste early helps build lifelong habits. Encourage teenagers and college students to understand where their food comes from and how to store it properly. These foundational skills empower them to maintain a responsible plant-based lifestyle. As you deepen your plant-based lifestyle, it's important to continually refine your approach to reducing desperdicio. Building on the strategies from Part 1, this section will focus more on advanced planning, smarter shopping techniques, and community practices that support waste reduction while maintaining your commitment to health and sustainability. One of the most effective ways to reduce desperdicio is to perform regular food audits. Once a week, take 10 minutes to scan your fridge, freezer, and pantry. Make a note of Alimentos Organicos that are nearing the end of their shelf life, and build your meals around them. This proactive approach prevents forgotten food from spoiling and keeps your kitchen organized. Smart shopping habits begin before you even enter a store. Create a detailed grocery list based on your meal plan and current inventory. This list should reflect your true needs, not just your cravings. Avoid shopping while hungry, as this can lead to impulse purchases that often go unused, contributing to desperdicio. Incorporating more shelf-stable plant-based foods into your diet can balance out your reliance on fresh produce. Items like lentils, chickpeas, oats, rice, and canned tomatoes last much longer and can be used in countless dishes. By rotating between fresh and pantry staples, you allow yourself more flexibility while reducing spoilage. Utilize the first in, first out principle in your kitchen. This means placing newer items behind older ones in your fridge and pantry. When Alimentos Organicos are rotated properly, you're more likely to use the oldest items first, decreasing the chances of desperdicio due to neglect. Mindfulness around food preparation is also essential. When peeling or chopping vegetables, be intentional about using the maximum amount of each item. Leave skins on when possible. Potato skins, apple peels, and even citrus zest are edible and nutritious. This approach respects the full value of Alimentos Organicos and promotes a zero-waste mentality. Explore new cuisines that naturally make use of leftover or odd ingredients. Many traditional dishes from around the world are built around resourcefulness. Soups, stews, stir-fries, and casseroles often began as ways to use what was available. These dishes fit perfectly within a plant-based lifestyle and help minimize desperdicio. Understanding portion sizes when cooking for others is especially important. If you're hosting a dinner or event, Plan your portions based on the number of guests and their likely appetites. Over-preparing food that can't be stored or shared increases the chances of waste. Invest in high-quality, reusable storage containers. Glass containers, beeswax wraps, and silicone bags keep Alimentos Organicos fresher longer than flimsy plastic or loose wrapping. Label your leftovers with dates and contents to stay aware of what's available and when it needs to be eaten. Dehydrating is another excellent technique for preserving foods. If you have extra apples, bananas, or leafy greens, consider using a dehydrator to make chips or snacks. Dehydrated foods retain much of their nutritional value and can last for months, helping reduce desperdicio in your plant-based kitchen. Make soups and broths from scraps. Onion skins, garlic peels, herb stems, and veggie trimmings can be collected over time in a freezer bag and later simmered into a rich, flavorful broth. This not only minimizes waste but also enhances your cooking with deep, homemade flavors. Grow your own herbs or vegetables if possible. Even a small window garden can provide fresh ingredients and reduce your reliance on store-bought Alimentos Organicos, which may spoil before being used. Gardening connects you to the source of your food and encourages greater respect for each bite. Donate unopened, unexpired foods you no longer want. Many communities have food banks or donation programs that accept plant-based items. This is especially helpful if your dietary preferences change or if you've overpurchased an item you won't use. Involve your household in reducing food waste. Whether you live with family, roommates, or a partner, make desperdicio reduction a shared goal. Collaborate on meal planning, grocery lists, and leftover management. When everyone participates, habits form more quickly and consistently. When you eat out, choose restaurants that prioritize sustainability and offer plant-based meals. Some establishments are transparent about their sourcing, composting efforts, and use of Alimentos Organicos. Supporting these businesses reinforces your values and promotes larger cultural shifts. If your area has a food waste pickup program, participate. These services collect scraps for composting or biofuel and ensure that unavoidable desperdicio doesn't end up in landfills. If such services don't exist, advocate for them. Local action leads to meaningful change. Use tech tools to your advantage. There are mobile apps that help track expiration dates, suggest recipes based on leftovers, and provide portion size guidance. Leveraging technology makes managing your plant-based kitchen easier and more efficient. Educate yourself about the life cycle of Alimentos Organicos. Understanding how fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes are grown, harvested, stored, and transported increases your appreciation and may motivate you to waste less. Knowledge transforms habits. Connect with others who follow plant-based lifestyles and share tips on avoiding desperdicio. Social media groups, forums, and local meetups provide platforms to exchange ideas, share resources, and inspire each other to do better. Community support makes the journey more rewarding. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Each week you reduce waste, find a use for leftovers, or prevent Alimentos Organicos from spoiling is a win. Acknowledging your efforts keeps you motivated and committed to your plant-based goals. Track your impact. Over time, write down how much food you've saved from the trash or how much you've composted. Quantifying these outcomes can be eye-opening and affirm the importance of your waste reduction strategies. Reevaluate your habits regularly. As life changes, new jobs, moving, family growth, your routines must adapt. Review your shopping, cooking, and storage practices every few months to see where improvements can be made. Encourage others to reduce desperdicio in their own plant-based journeys. Lead by example. Share your favorite zero-waste recipes, storage hacks, and meal plans. The more people embrace these values, the greater the collective impact on health and the planet. Avoid exotic produce that's unlikely to be used regularly. While it's fun to try new Alimentos Organicos, prioritize items you're confident you'll eat. This ensures those special ingredients won't sit forgotten until it's too late. Explore fermenting vegetables at home. Sauerkraut, kimchi, and other fermented foods not only prevent desperdicio but also support gut health. With a few jars and a little salt, you can transform excess produce into delicious staples. Rethink ugly produce. Many fruits and vegetables are discarded due to minor blemishes or odd shapes. These imperfections don't affect taste or nutrition. Purchasing or growing imperfect alimentos organicos reduces waste and sends a message that beauty shouldn't dictate value. Remember that reducing desperdicio isn't about doing everything at once. Choose one habit to improve, and once it becomes natural, add another. Over time, your kitchen will become a model of intention, sustainability, and health.